YouTube fans, here again. And I think, why not, why not? I said I'll do it, and I'm a man of my word. Competing the video nasties. Competing the video nasties, why not? So, this one's with the video nasty 4 in 4, why not? I'll start off with this one. More of a biography than a film. What do I mean by that? Faces of Deaths. That's right, Faces of Death. Come out in 1978. And you could say it's definitely a gory film. It's more of a biography of death, additionally named Faces of Death. There was a lot of sequels as this went on, and a lot of spin-offs, whether it be Faces of Death, not that one so ever. Yeah, I'll talk about that one. I mean, Chases of Death, and all these other spin-offs, but Faces of Death, because there was the first one we did this sort of mockumentary. What do I mean by mockumentary? Some of it's real, some of it's fake. Now, I do know they use real footage of real autopsies. So, word of warning if you're eating. And I do know it got banned in 40 countries. And yes, the original was notorious. It was a video nasty. Like most other ones, you can now get it on DVD. But the animal cruelty, the animal death scenes has been cut down. Yeah, the animal death scenes, the animal cruelty has been cut, which in my eyes isn't really a bad thing, because do you really need to see animals get killed to suck out an audience? Do you really need that? No. So in this occasion, I make an exception on that one, because it's not really nice, and it's seeing animals getting killed and so on. One of the most common scenes is an animal in, I think it's in India, and they've got this little monkey, the basset's head in, then they cut its head open and people dip into its brains, which turned out it was fake. Very good fake, but it was fake. But some of it was real footage of animal cruelty, animal deaths, and it was a mockumentary, and that would be Faces of Deaths. The next one, I was going to say there, is Maratasa Massacre. Can I also heard right? Maratasa Massacre. If you remember the one where I said Blood Feast, this is very similar. What do I mean by similar? It's to do with a serial killer. He's a stoke. He sacrifices women. The only difference is he pulls women's hearts out, and he does it different to his dad, and he's looking for the most evil woman out there. Now, the reason why I did it like that and overdone it is because this is how the actor acts this all the way through the film. I shit you not. I am looking for the most evil woman. I'm not even making that up. That is exactly how he acts this in the film. I'm not even making it up if I tried. That is how. That is his acting. I'm not making it up. That is his acting. Originally was banned. Yes, it was a video nasty, and yes, you can now get it, but it's very hard to get hold of. But if you go on Amazon, you can get it. Whether it's cut down or it's now totally uncut, it's a different story. I know there's a bit of gory bit in it where he cuts a woman open, pulls her heart out, you definitely see it, but you can see the effect. You can see it's a rat's work dummy. The bit where he cuts the chest open, you can see it's not the person. I know it's not we're going to kill someone, the suckers are out, but you can see it's an effect. But it's practical. And I don't like that one. The acting's a bit shit, but it's good film you want to laugh. And if you remember Blood Feast, it's a very similar story to Blood Feast. 1978, Maratasa Massacre. Now we get to, let me think of one. 1979. I love this film. I fucking love this film. That being Zombie Flesh Eaters. Done history, and I remember talking about the history of this. In 1979, or 1978, Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie. And if you know the history, you know what I'm on about. Zombie Flesh Eaters in Italy was supposed to be a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, and it was called naturally Zombie 2. But we all know it in this country, it was its own movie, it was its own cycle, and it was called Zombie Flesh Eaters. Now, theatrically, they cut some of the door, they cut some of the violence out, but when they didn't retake video, they brought out a strong, say that again, a strong uncut version out with a sticker on, strong uncut version, and they managed to spice some of the blood, some of the gore, some of the violence back into the film, One of my favourite scenes being the spinker in the woman's eyeball, the zombies munching on the same dead woman, a lot more door to the bone. That was to be the stoned uncut version. But again, that became a video nasty. It was taken off the shelf. You can see it on DVD where it says banned in 1983. There's a fuck up there. The film got banned in 1984. That's one fuck up. But in the supposed to be shouting then, as I was about to say. Again, though, in the early 90s, they did release it, eventually after it being banned in 1984. But we got the theatrical one where all the doors, the sprinkling in a woman's eyeball, all that cut down. Happy to say now, though, you can get it on DVD in its total uncut form, all the blood, all the doors, sprinkling in a woman's eye, all that. I actually love Zombie Fest Eaters, so the practical effects. I never got right, it got banned. I remember the iconic scene where the zombies fighting with the sack. I even knew how they did the effect. Sadly to say, the actor or the person dressed up as the zombie, he was wrestling with a sack, no CGI, no special effects. This was a real cheap white sack, die dressed up as a zombie, on its back, wrestling with a sack. And how they did it is unbelievable. Sad to say, like I say, the die of the zombie is no longer with us, may rest. But even today, when I even hear about it, that scene is so mesmerising. I could be sat there, eating something, and honestly, to God, my food would be coming out of my mouth. I'd be like that. I'd be drinking a cup of tea or a coffee and I'm spilling it everywhere. Flies could be in my mouth, mating, maggots could be coming all out of my dosset, and this is me watching that scene. Because it's such a mesmerising scene. That is Zombie Fest Eaters, in 1979, one of my favourite zombie films. Didn't deserve to become a video nasty. It's my opinion, but happy to say you can now get it on DVD in this country, totally uncut. Then we get to this one, 1980, Sultan Assassin. What can I say about Sultan Assassin? I love the film. Now, this was really one of the last of the long tub films. People don't know what the long tub films were. In 1972, 1973 to 1974, they did these long tub films. Martial arts, swords, heads getting cut off, arms and legs getting cut off, ninjas fighting and all this. All they did really was to spice in two of these long tub films. 2 films spiced in together. They released it on video. And at the time, there was a lot of swords, lots of weapons in it. People didn't like it, which makes me laugh because all I can say is, did they never see any of the other long tub films? They got it sold to an Assassin, and like I say, it got banned in the early 80s. Happy to say now you can now get the stunned, uncut version away. And I love this one. I love it. And I always wonder, right, you got the 3 Masters of Death, and I always wonder whether John Carpenter saw this film. I always wonder whether John Carpenter saw this film, because it kind of reminds me of The Storm and Winter and all that, the 3 villains in Big Trouble in Little China. Always reminds me of those villains. And I always love the scene in it. I like the die, Sisis and die. Sadly's no longer with us, the main star of the film. Sultan Assassin is one of my favourites. I love the music in it. I love the music at the end. I love the showdown. Yeah, the blood endures over the top, but I think it was made that way. And it definitely inspired the film Kill Bill, which was usually thinking Kill Bill Volume 2. Yeah, Sultan Assassin. Happy to say you can now get it in its uncut form. The next one would be Eaten Alive. I remember talking on called Death Tap, but it was also Eaten Alive, on about the cannibal one. I actually like this one, actually. Starts off like an offensive film, and it does show bits from almost every other every other cannibal film, whether it would be Man from Deep River, whether it would be Mountain of the Cannibal Gods, whether it be The Lost Cannibal World. They saw biggest amount of footage from all the other cannibal films. There's a lot of animal cruelty, which is like typical, but biddies amount is used from the other cannibal films. And one of the most gory scenes is two women, one being Mimi Lane, who is in Man from Deep River, and was also in The Lost Cannibal World. Well, there's a scene in it where she gets killed. She literally gets eaten alive. I'm not making this shit up. She gets eaten alive. She gets a big chunk of her back ripped out. The cannibals are munching on it. You've got one woman. They cut her breast off. I'm not making this shit up. They eat it where she's steaming and adding her. They literally eat these two women alive and kill her, dies. She dies here, gets cut off and gets eaten. They're literally eating these people alive. I'm not making that up. The downrip one scene off it, Mimi Lane gets killed. If you remember the Lost Cannibal World, they just used footage from that. It's very disturbing, pretty hard to see, pretty horrific in what happened to these two poor women. But I do know in the UK we can now get the film, even though it was banned. Again, everything cut, even though we've got it. That scene I've just mentioned, cut out, even today, which kind of pisses me off. And the one which is one of the most maturest, one of the nastiest, would be Cannibal Fairlock. 1981, banned in 31 countries. Yep, you didn't hear things. Banned in 31 countries. Like most cannibal films, starts off a bit like a Cannibal Adventure sort of film, but as it goes on, it is nasty. It is so nasty. You got these teenagers, they get, if you believe that, they get tattooed by cannibals. They've got one dies, a bit of a dick, been that through these nasty films. Cannibals get a dislike for him, they hate him with a passion, they cut his dingling off, you didn't hear things there. They took his manhood off, still alive. They get a girl, they ram hooks in her breasts and hang her up in the air and they watch her bleed to death. The same guy has his hand cut off and then they put him in this thing, what's man-made, sticks on the side of his head, cut half his head off and then they dip into his brains and eat it. Seriously, that's the biggest amount of nasty stuff in the film. It is brutal, it is vicious as anything. It's a very hard film to watch, and like I said, without repeating myself, banned in 31 countries. I'm not making it up, banned in 31 countries. And you can now get it on DVD. Again, it's going to have a lot of animal cruelty, but cut to pieces. The bits I've just said, the hook in the woman's breasts, them stood there watching the bleed to death, the sea red dipping into the guy's brains, the penis. After it's cut out, the best bit where the cannibal's munching on it, cut out, all that, cut to fucking pieces. Don't bother in the UK. Do not bother. If you're going to get it, if you've got a DVD player, what could do NTSC or a Blu-ray which does NTSC, go for that. I have heard rumours you can now get it uncut. Whether there's truth in that or it's BS, I don't know. But if you can't get it uncut in this country and you want to do it the legal way, the Dud Boy way, you can probably ways you can get it on Amazon. There's probably ways if you go on Amazon, you could probably get the stunned uncut version, because in the whether Stu got it now, I'm not sure if it's cut to shit. But when I first got it, cut to shit. I'm not going to say how I got it uncut, but I can now got it totally uncut, all the door and everything. And I think uncut does have more of an impact. But it's one of them, if you don't like cruelty to animals, you're definitely not going to like the film. There's a bit where they've got this little rodent, it said shoot, and you've got a Tachycobra snake. It wraps itself around this poor little rodent. The rodent's steaming in agony and it gets crushed to death. It's very hard to watch. It's very brutal. It's very upsetting to watch. And the fact they killed an animal just to make a film, bang out of order. Bang out of order. But the rest of the film, it's more like I say, a Jungle Adventure film, nearly at the middle, nearly at the end. That's when the film is brutal. The film is nasty. The film is horrific. But the acting's bad. I can't lie. The acting is bad. The dubbing is horrendous. And that's it. You've got one guy in it, the one who has his dingling cut off. He's been in almost every one of these video nasties. City of the Living Dead, Out by the Edge of the Park. Every one of them, he always gets killed, an horrible death. And the funny thing is, you've got one actor who appeared in Cannibal Holocaust. He's in the film. You've got another actor who's a well-known porn star, who, funny enough, is in Eaten Alive, the one I just mentioned, and was also in Cannibal Holocaust. He's in this as well in a small sort of role. So yeah, it's like funny to see most of the guys from Cannibal Holocaust as well as Eaten Alive in this film. But that's Cannibal Fairlock. I'll probably talk about other things on the way. But into them, be smart, be safe. See you later.